Welcome to part 2 of JavaScript for Beginners course. In this video, I'm going to talk about strings and string literals. So let's start with creating a new constant that we are going to call name and assign it to my name. You can use your name, that's absolutely fine. And also create a couple other number variables that we're going to use. So one is going to be age, in my case 26, and birth year is going to be 1998. Now that we have defined these constants, the next step is to actually work with the string and see how it works. What I would do in this case is type console log, and instead of typing Nick inside a string, I will actually reference the variable called name. So I can type name. Let's just see the output. So it says Nick. Now, what if I wanted to say Nick is 26 years old? Well, you can do the same by typing console log, but instead of typing Nick is 26 years old, like that, you can actually replace the Nick portion with the variable. So I can type name plus is 26 years old. And if I console log this out, you can see it says Nick is 26 years old, because when you add a string variable to some existing text, you actually get the concatenation of those values. We can try a different example now. What about saying Nick is 26 years old, but instead of writing 26 explicitly, we can use the variable age 26. So let's try and use the same exact formula. So console log name plus is plus age. And then we can add another plus and say years old. Let's try and print this out into the command. So as you can see, it says Nick is 26 years old. It's quite cumbersome to be adding those pluses. So what if you want to make a complex string of variables and letters and numbers? Well, in this case, what you can do is actually use a thing called template literal. A template literal allows you to perform a thing called string interpolation, which means that you can mix variables with strings without having to use the plus symbol. So let's try an example. Let's type console log, and to use a template literal, you have to use the tilde symbol. It can be found on your keyboard if you use a Mac one on the bottom left corner, or if you use a Windows one on the top left corner. So make sure to use a tilde. And then in order to reference a variable's value, what you have to do is type $ and curly brackets, and then type the name of the variable inside the curly brackets. So in this case, we're going to reference it as name. And instead of adding the plus symbol, we can just keep writing the text as we normally would. And I'm going to add age here and type years old. So as you can see, this is so much cleaner compared to adding plus and spaces all around. And if I press enter on this, I'm going to get the exact same result. Another thing that you can do with strings is actually break them into the next line. And there's two ways to go about it. The first way is by using the plus symbol, as we've done before. So in this case, we can type console log, and you can say my name is, and what I want to do is the output of my variable, which is name, should be rendered in the next line. So how do I do that? Well, you can use the backspace symbol and type n, which means that it's going to go onto the next line and add the variable called name and render that under here. So in this case, my name is, and the next line will be Nick. The second way you can do that is with template strings. The second way you can do that is with the template literals using the tilde notation. So let's go ahead and do that by typing console log and type my name is. But in this case, we don't need the backspace n. All we need to do is just go to the next line and type Nick. And it's going to actually parse it as a 2-line text. And if I press enter, I can see the output right here is exactly the same as how I would use it with the plus button. And finally, one thing that strings have is what we call static methods. They pretty much allow you to perform some changes on the actual string. And for example, we can turn my name into uppercase or lowercase by typing name dot to lowercase, and this will turn the letters to lowercase, or name dot to uppercase, which is going to turn the letters into uppercase. And you can also do that without needing to have a variable. You can just use a string literal that we can say hello, and then press dot to uppercase, and it's going to make the letters all capital. So that is all for strings and template literals in this video. In the next video, I'm going to cover basic operators and operators precedence. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.